Have you ever wondered why the one who lights the lamps for the whole world is often the last person sitting in the cold darkness? In the mechanical city of Aethelgard, where gears grind against the eternal frost, warmth is the most precious currency a human soul can possess. Kael is the city's only master of energy hearts, the intricate mechanical cores that keep thousands of families from freezing in the dead of winter. He pours his sweat, his health, and every ounce of his remaining warmth into these machines, believing his sacrifice is the ultimate noble calling. But as the city grows brighter and warmer with every heart he creates, Kael begins to realize a bitter, chilling truth about his own existence. When the entire world finally glows with the light you provided, that is often the exact moment when your own internal fire begins to die. He is the architect of everyone else's comfort, yet he remains a ghost in the shadows, slowly freezing as he fuels the lives of total strangers. The paradox of the Lightkeeper is simple. To keep the world bright, he must consume himself until there is nothing left but cold, gray ash. Every day is a cycle of labor, a relentless pursuit of perfection to ensure that no home in Aethelgard ever has to face the biting frost. The city sings with the sound of his creations, a symphony of warmth that he conducted, but a melody he is never allowed to actually enjoy. He ignores his own hunger and his own exhaustion, convinced that the needs of the many will always outweigh the needs of his own soul. Is it true devotion if it requires the total erasure of the self? Or is it a trap we set for ourselves in the name of virtue? As he moves through the shadows, he feels the cold seeping into his bones, a physical manifestation of the loneliness that has become his only companion. The ice is not just outside, it is moving inward, claiming the spaces where his joy and his self-preservation used to live before he gave them away. He believes he is a hero, but in reality, he is a candle burning at both ends, lighting a room he will never be invited to stay in. Devotion soon becomes a habit, an automatic response to the world's demands, until Kael forgets how to say anything other than a weary yes. We often confuse total devotion with emotional suicide, thinking that the more we suffer, the more valuable our contribution becomes to those around us. Kael believes his worth is measured by how much he can give. He lights up the rooms of strangers by burning his own time and health. When you turn yourself into a free resource, people stop seeing your efforts as a gift and start demanding them as a fundamental right. His hands tell the story of 1,000 sacrifices, covered in scars and burns that he hides beneath his sleeves like shameful secrets of his labor. He is surrounded by the fruits of his labor, yet he is starving for a single moment of genuine rest or a word of sincere gratitude. They take the light and they leave the shadow behind. They take the warmth and they leave the man who made it to shiver alone. He has forgotten how to value himself outside of his utility to others, trapped in a cycle of service that offers no internal or external reward. Time is his enemy, yet he gives it away as if it were infinite, unaware that every second spent for others is a second stolen from himself. The mirror doesn't lie, but Kael refuses to look. He is too busy ensuring that the world doesn't have to face its own cold reality. Gratitude is a rare flower that doesn't grow in the soil of entitlement. When you give too much, you teach others how to be ungrateful. His body is a machine that is breaking down, but the pilot refuses to see the warning lights flashing red across the dashboard of his life. He believes that if he just works a little harder, if he just gives a little more, someone will eventually notice and offer him a hand. He is weaving his own life force into the fabric of the city's comfort, thinning his own spirit until it is as fragile as a cobweb. Self-sacrifice has become his identity, a heavy cloak he wears to hide the fact that he no longer knows who he is without his work. He takes a fleeting comfort in their joy, a secondary warmth that sustains him just enough to keep him from collapsing entirely into the snow. Even his smallest comforts are sacrificed to the altar of productivity, leaving him with nothing but the cold taste of neglected self-care. The more he gives, the more the world expects. The shadow of his duty grows until it swallows every sunbeam that tries to enter his life. While the city sleeps in the warmth he provided, Kael battles the silence of the night, fueled only by a fading sense of martyrdom. Every movement is a struggle, every breath a reminder that he is human, though he tries his hardest to be an immortal engine of service. He is perfecting the hearts of machines, while his own heart rhythm begins to falter, neglected and unobserved in the rush of the winter. Another dawn brings another list of demands. The cycle of the giving tree continues until there is nothing left but a stump in the ground. He prepares for the world, but he never prepares for himself. He is ready to save everyone except the man staring back in the mirror. The night of the Festival of Light arrives, the pinnacle of Aethelgard's year, where the city transforms into a radiant jewel in the dark. The air is filled with music and laughter, fueled by the hundreds of energy hearts Kael labored over for months without a single day of rest. Exhausted and frail, Kael decides for the first time to join the celebration, hoping to feel the warmth he has worked so hard to create. But as he moves through the sea of happy faces, he realizes he is a stranger in the very world he built with his own hands. They don't see the creator, they only see the grime. They don't see the sacrifice, they only see an intruder in their perfect, glowing night. The tragedy of devotion is not the fatigue, it is the invisibility. You become a background utility, as unnoticed as the air they breathe. He stands beneath his greatest achievement, but not a single soul looks at him with a gaze of recognition or a nod of thanks. They toast to the light, but they forget the wick. They celebrate the miracle, but they ignore the weary saint who performed it for them. When you give too much without setting a boundary, you cease to be a person in their eyes. You are simply a tool that works. The festival music sounds like a funeral dirge to his ears, a loud, mocking reminder of everything he has lost while trying to help others. He has burned so brightly for them that he has used up his own image, leaving behind a hollow shell that no longer casts a shadow. The heaters are everywhere, yet he is the only one who is cold. This is the ultimate irony of the man who gives everything away. They don't want his presence, they only want his service. They don't want the man, they only want the repair he can provide for them. He realizes that the world he lit up is a world he doesn't belong to. He is the fuel, and fuel is meant to be consumed. Abundance often breeds blindness. When people have everything they need, they stop wondering where it came from or who suffered to provide it. The bitterness tastes like copper in his mouth. It is the realization that his kindness has been mistaken for a lack of self-respect. He has built a masterpiece of ingratitude, a city that functions perfectly on the back of a man it doesn't even bother to name. Each explosion of light in the sky is a reminder of the energy he could have used to warm his own life, now scattered and gone. You are not a hero to those who use you. You are a ghost of convenience, a utility that is only missed when it stops working. The heavens are silent, and the earth is loud with the sounds of people who have forgotten how to say thank you for their warmth. He turns his back on the festival, walking toward the only place where he feels he truly belongs, the shadows and the cold metal. The city will forget his walk tonight, just as it forgets his work tomorrow. He is a man being erased by his own generosity. He is the architect of their joy. Yet he remains an eternal outsider, a man who built a home he is never allowed to enter. This is the peak of ingratitude, to be surrounded by the very people you saved and to feel more alone than ever before. The door closes on the light, leaving him in the familiar embrace of the dark, a tomb he built for himself with his own goodness. The weight of the world is too much for one man to carry, especially when that man has forgotten how to carry himself first. The collapse doesn't happen with a bang. It happens in the silence of a heart that has finally realized it has nothing left to give. Kael stares at the scrap metal and the broken tools, seeing them not as projects, but as mirrors of his own shattered and exhausted spirit. Long tot hongrang jur is not a virtue. It is a form of self-destruction. It is the slow suicide of the soul disguised as moral duty. Psychologically, we burn ourselves out because we fear rejection or because we crave a recognition that will never be enough to fill our void. We think that if we become indispensable, we will finally be loved. But utility is not love, and service is not a substitute for belonging. When you allow yourself to be used as a fuel source, you shouldn't be surprised when people treat you like an object instead of a human. The gears of his mind are spinning in neutral. He has run out of the emotional oil required to keep the machinery of his life moving. Kindness without boundaries is self-destruction. It is an invitation for the world to take until there is absolutely nothing left but a shell. He hates the metal, he hates the light, and most of all, he hates the version of himself that couldn't find the strength to say no. He is losing the battle against the cold, not because the winter is too strong, but because his internal furnace has finally run out of coal. Who was he before the world started asking? He can't remember. The man he was has been consumed by the fire he built for others. The well is dry, but the people don't care about the well's health. They only care that their buckets are no longer being filled with water. Those who let you burn for them will rarely be the ones to bring water when you are reduced to a pile of ash. His capacity for empathy has broken under the pressure of exploitation. He is now a man of cold stone in a world of freezing ice. The body rebels when the mind refuses to acknowledge the truth. His hands, his heart, his very bones are screaming for him to stop. Let the world go dark. Let them feel the frost. Perhaps only in the cold will they remember the value of the man who kept them warm. He is not giving up. He is simply empty. You cannot pour from a cup that has been shattered into 1,000 jagged, unfixable pieces. The bridge has fallen. The connection between his heart and the world has been severed by the sheer weight of their collective, heavy expectations. Is this the end of the Lightkeeper? Or is it the beginning of a man who finally understands the true cost of his own light? He was a prisoner of his own goodness, trapped in a cage of service that he built with his own misplaced sense of total moral obligation. Even in the deepest collapse, a tiny spark remains. But this time, it is not for the city. This time, it must be for him. The realization hits him like a tidal wave of ice. He is a human being, not a perpetual fuel station for the ungrateful and the blind. The time for burning is over. The time for building a wall around the flame has finally begun, born from the ashes of his despair. He will not be their martyr anymore. He will not be the sacrifice on the altar of their convenience. He is claiming his own life back. The darkness is not his enemy. It is his teacher. And tonight, the lesson is finally, painfully, and beautifully complete for the tired mechanic. Don't light the world if the price is your own soul. Kael has finally learned that he is the most important machine in the workshop. Transformation begins with a single word: no. It is the word that creates space for the self to breathe and for the heart to heal. He begins to build something different. Not a heart for a mansion or a square, but a heart for his own small frozen room. For the first time in years, Kael feels a warmth that isn't leaving him. It is a fire that stays, a light that belongs solely to him. When the world comes knocking with its demands, Kael doesn't bow. He sets a price, a boundary, and a condition of mutual, genuine respect. Setting boundaries is not an act of selfishness. It is an act of preservation. You cannot serve the world if you have already been destroyed. He is washing away the identity of the slave. He is scrubbing off the layers of yes that have hidden his true self for far too long. To love others sustainably, you must first be the one who is warmed. You must be the primary beneficiary of your own internal light and energy. A human is not a fuel station. You are a living being with limits that must be honored if you wish to remain whole and functional. The fence doesn't hide the beauty, it protects it. Boundaries are the walls of the garden where your most precious gifts are allowed to grow. He is reclaiming his time. He is reclaiming his health. He is reclaiming the right to exist without having to earn it through constant labor. Creativity returns when the pressure of survival is lifted. He is making things for the joy of it again, not just to keep the world turning. He is choosing where his light goes. He is directing his energy towards those who value it, rather than those who simply expect it as their due. His hands are healing. The cracks are fading. He is becoming a master of his craft again, rather than a servant to the city's bottomless greed. The quality of the light has changed. It is no longer the light of a forest fire. It is the light of a controlled, warm hearth. He walks through Aethelgard as a citizen, not a servant. He is a part of the city, but the city no longer owns the beat of his heart. When you respect yourself, the world is forced to decide whether to meet you at that level or walk away into their own shadow. He is a reservoir now, not a leak. He stores his energy so that when he does give, it is from a place of true, abundant strength. The city is warmer because Kael is whole. A broken man cannot build a lasting world, but a whole man can light the way forever. He has escaped the trap of devotion. He has found the balance between giving to the world and keeping the best of himself for himself. As the sun sets over the mechanical towers of Aethelgard, a new kind of warmth settles over the city, one built on mutual respect and value. Remember that the most beautiful devotion is the one that comes from a full heart, not a hollow one trying to hide its own emptiness. Your light is precious. Your energy is finite. If you do not protect the flame, the wind of the world will eventually extinguish it forever. Don't light others' worlds by burning yourself out. It isn't a gift to them if it leaves you as a pile of cold, forgotten ashes. Be the lighthouse, not the candle. The lighthouse stands firm, its light reaching miles precisely because it doesn't consume its own structural integrity. Value yourself first. Cherish your boundaries. Then, and only then, will the world learn how to truly value the light you choose to share. A world built on the exploitation of the devoted is a world doomed to freeze. A world built on respect is a world that stays warm. The light starts with you. It starts with your health, your peace, and your courage to say that you matter just as much as they do. The winter of the soul is over. The spring of self-respect has arrived. Kael is no longer a ghost. He is a man of fire and light. Thank you for listening to the story of Aethelgard. May your own hearth be warm and your boundaries be strong tonight, and always keep your fire alive. Keep your soul whole. And remember, the world only stays bright if you stay bright too. Goodbye for now.